How far away are you? How long of a drive you have?
20-ish,
Oh, that's okay.
just across the river in north end of Chester.
Okay. From the other way down on 80.
Hi there.
Hello, baby.
Yes, it's shown up. Well, I don't know where Mr. Bynum is.
Virginia.
Well,
Like
a good guess, yeah. Educated guess. Oh, you're
I see
smelling that coat again.
What? Yesterday's video disappeared. Based
I
on,
guess I'm not surprised given the record.
but today they could all the
Yeah, there it
controls are
is.
back and
Where
normal.
they should be.
Yeah,
Ah,
I
have a friend running me. And I could not get Zoom to open, so I could schedule a meeting.
Wow, yesterday?
No,
Oh, yeah.
last week.
Uh-huh.
And last week. I finally scheduled the meeting on my phone.
I've had to do
But
that.
then I can run the meeting from my computer, but my computer is very old.
Mm.
Not exactly the best time to buy a new one, but.
No,
well, today.
to buy anything.
Maybe you can get in under the
Maybe you
wire.
can get in real quick.
fortunately we got an iPad about 2 weeks ago. We realized it was a good time to do it.
Yeah, no, everything is
In chaos.
up, yes. Okay, I know, I just bought these and another pair of sneakers this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there you go.
How are you, Bill?
This is the one place I come to not be in chaos.
Lots of luck.
We'll do our best.
We even have Mr. Nagel in person here today, so you're.
I know. I'm the only two-dimensional participant.
Your turn will come. Okay. Questions, reports?
I didn't have any yesterday, and look what happened.
Anything for you, Mr. Bynum?
No.
I do think that it was helpful to have, having watched Carol and kind of just absorbing that this week, that I had good practices. Monday was really, it kind of felt like I was getting there, but I I do notice I speed up and slow down. I think that's kind of probably one of my challenges is that I'm getting a little better at it, but I'm really aware how much I still am doing it. Yeah, so that's.
I have noticed that.
I do that in all. Yeah, I know. So I just have to be.
When we do it together, I always, how the heck did she get to?
See that far already. I know. Yes. So I think it's the way I talk to. Yeah.
I've been working on evening it out. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's a challenge.
Sometimes it's.
It is.
Is this even or not?
It is a challenge.
Mhm.
What can I say?
Yeah.
This is a very challenging practice. Very challenging. Well, my thought is to put Mr. Nagel on the spot and proceed.
What spot? It's your choice of which spot.
Actually, maybe,
We can move
yeah,
back.
maybe Carol would move over.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
One with the seat.
Okay.
So, as I did with Carol, I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
And one thing I didn't say for Carol, but I want to make sure that you go through each of the transitions.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. So that step was not a whole body movement.
Okay.
That step was an empty step. So there should have been rotation in there. Do you remember that? Ah, look at that. Okay. So when you come into the dantian, you're doing very well with that particular movement into the dantian. But as you started up, you did this instead of starting to go out. The rotation is outward as you rise
Okay.
and go out.
And where does that start?
Here at the dantian.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And it starts there. It doesn't go.
Well,
yeah.
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 But yes, obviously I was up here. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 5. That's not 2.
Okay.
He was just very fast. He didn't notice.
Okay.
Well, you used to talk to me about the difference between 5 and 2, and maybe I never understood that was
Part of it.
what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's part of why we're doing this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
all the better. So continue with 2 or
Do 1 or 2 of 2 and then transition to
just
3.
Okay.
And you can either do the top or lower
Mhm.
transition, whichever you prefer.
Yep.
Okay. So as you go into that transition,
Mhm.
and it's certainly fine, to do it at the top, or at the bottom. Excuse me. That's where you do is the bottom. But what you have to do then is be aware of not using all your twisting into the dantian, because at this point then you need to continue twisting in as you separate and come onto your sidelines
Okay.
for that. And as you do these movements, the hands don't come into the center, they stay on the sideline
Okay.
with the elbow. Well, the elbow actually is going to go out. It comes in and then it'll go out here.
Okay.
Was that
Yeah. So coming down and
Yeah, so with that one, you're gonna come in till you connect to the Dantian, and then you want to
Mm.
continue twisting in and then go out,
okay,
because that's how the movement goes.
so I had an extra wrinkle in there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We all do it.
Like that.
Yep, it was much better. And what I would say is that it feels like when you get to where you can see what I'm doing. It feels like when you get to here
Mhm.
that you go up. And it's not, it's out.
Okay.
A subtle difference, but it
Yeah, yeah, probably.
but it will make a difference in what happens with the energy.
Okay.
Yep. Go to 4, wherever you'd like to. So as you go through that transition, you get to the top. You've got to keep twisting in all the way to the Dantian and then twist out. And, yeah.
Okay,
So what happened was you went,
yeah.
Pretty quick,
okay, yeah,
and you had no-
I went all the way.
you had no
up to the top.
twisting left.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's new. I think I've always done that.
There is a
which doesn't
tendency
make
to
it
do
right.
that. I mean, I had that tendency at one point,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is when you have made that sideways
Mhm.
connection and you're going up, drop the elbows rather than lifting the elbows.
Okay.
Let, and you get to this point,
Yeah.
let the elbows drop. You're continuing to rotate up and in. But if you drop the elbows, that will release the shoulders and allow the energy to flow with you there.
Mhm.
Another 5. So with the you're going to come in and connect to the dantian, but make sure you haven't twisted in too much so that you can continue to twist in as you come up. And then you're finding how you can let this go up and out. It's not, you're coming to here and there's a corner. You're going straight out.
No, that's because there's a corner down there too.
Mm.
Gotta be symmetrical.
There you go. So it's that one of the difficult parts of this practice is that continual twisting.
Yeah, I've concentrated so much on pace, but not on the twisting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely better. So go to 6. No, you just created another corner. It's flying.
But his pace is great. I'm kind of
Yeah,
the other way
pace is
around. My
good.
pace is
You're
bad. I'm trying real
Good,
hard.
good taste, definitely. So in this
You got something.
in doing this, let yourself come clear into
All the way
to the
okay,
connection.
Okay.
And what happens there is now you need to round that corner.
Mhm.
So how can you round that corner? Well, that would be one way. My preference is to go the other
Go
way
the other
with
way,
it because
That puts you out here where you need
you're
to be.
you're wanting to go to this rotation now.
Yeah.
Because it changes. So you've done twisting in to here, and now you're gonna go twisting in the same direction. I mean, twisting
Yeah.
out in
Yeah.
the same direction. You're switching edges of the hand
Mhm.
because now the in is the thumb edge. It's a kind of a sticky transition there,
Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
but don't feel you have to do that transition in the way I did. If
Yeah,
you
that
if you
makes
can do it
sense,
to the other
because
side
that-
and make it go
Yeah.
forward a little bit with it, but you have to find the curve there.
This little thing that I apparently invented, I thought was the curve.
But it went boom, boom.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
then, I don't
Yeah,
think I've come in and done that, so. but-
you know, take a break for a moment here. Let me just say something.
Yeah.
In a lot of places, we're trying to get to that connection of the wrist point. There's a wrist point. It's 3 fingers width above the start of the wrist bend.
Hmm.
And there is a point on the outside and a point on the inside,
Yeah.
two different
Yeah.
meridians. And when you connect that, you will feel it. When you really connect it, you're going to find it in your Laogong point. So we're trying each time we come to that to really make that connection because that's important there. Okay? Just as it's important when you get to here
Yeah,
coming down. Yeah. So that's for everybody. That wasn't
Yep,
just
yeah.
you, Bill. Go to 7.
Okay, I'll do one.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That's why we're here.
Okay, two questions. One, at the end of 6,
Mhm.
the hands just fall out and stay there.
They move out. I
Well,
would
yeah,
say I would say
yeah.
fall out, but they do go out because you
But it's just a natural,
you have inhaled down through the
Right.
center, right?
Yep.
Down through the center. And then you have an exhale to flow into position to begin moving on 7.
okay. And then the other question, actually, a two-part question. One, how do I start the head movement? Because I'm worried about corners there. Yeah, so I'm like this, do I just start it moving or is there and the same kind of question with the switch between going right and left, what I do with my head.
So it's a little difficult transition there. There are a couple of ways you can do this. So I don't know that I've said this before, but I'll say it now. You can you're twisting inhaling as you come down, exhale, and take a moment to inhale into position. So you're
Okay,
going into crane neck and then into
okay,
the rotation. The other thing you can do is here you're coming in, and the difficulty is that can go right on into the
yeah,
and what I found was that I was not creating the right structure.
okay,
I was collapsing whenever I did that.
yeah.
So I felt it was better to let myself have that space. And it's done, I think, both ways.
Okay.
But get down to let the exhale, inhale and extend the neck. So that's part of it. And then into the rotation.
Okay.
And now you wanted to ask about the transition when you come up here, round it.
Okay, yeah.
That's really
That's,
all it is. It's just
yeah, that's all I can come up with.
not
yeah.
corner. Make a little curve there. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
It can be very small.
Okay,
Just needs to be present.
And that pause at the top at the beginning isn't a pause exactly. I mean, it isn't a,
It isn't a stop.
you know,
No, it isn't, because you're going to keep the breath going. You're going to be moving into position and then begin the rotation. But you're using that extra inhale to move into position, to take the right, hit your crane neck, be aware of center and all that list.
so it's you can inhale and inhale and inhale. And then the exhale, and then inhale and no. So the end of 6.
is it exhale? Yeah.
So no, this is an inhale.
Oh, yeah.
If you're aligning with the breath. So you're inhale down, exhale, inhale. So the transition of positioning is both in the exhale and the inhale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Because you want to have this be an exhale going down and an inhale coming up.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then at some point we'll talk about breathing without breathing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I don't want to shake you.
I didn't get very far.
No, I just wanted to come and look at you from this angle. So do it again. Okay, so too much emphasis on the neck. The movement, we had a whole discussion about this, but that movement, even though this is not moving, is coming from the dantian and the spine. So the movement is not, let's see if I can demonstrate this. You had the head leading the movement, okay? So you want to come from here, and the bend is really only at the midriff. This is a really strange thing for us. We've made such a point about keeping the 4 points together, and now we're going to separate them. So the hips don't turn with this.
Right.
It's just coming from here, but you have to keep the extension going out of through the midriff all the way around. And yes, the neck is rotating slightly more than you are at the midriff.
Okay.
Mm.
What?
Because it can.
Yeah, it's because he can. But you really need to sense that connection down to the lower dantian.
So it's this rather than.
Yeah. It's a whole body movement rather
Yeah,
than
right.
a neck movement. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's whole body in terms of energy
Mhm.
all the way through the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
Other questions there?
I'm, if I keep standing here, I obviously.
You
You don't have to.
Am I done?
For a minute. So questions? Other questions? What did you, sir? Anything, any comment any of you want to make that I didn't?
Oh, you didn't.
No, I appreciate as much fine tuning
Mhm.
and large tuning as the case may be as I can get, so. not
It's-
a-
Yeah, it's really helpful. One of the things I felt was that in your transition from 4 to 5, it didn't seem to me you were clear about condensing.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you what does that mean to you?
I think you're right. I typically have not started the condensing until I'm. Oh,
Mm.
No, that has to.
Yeah. So
That's
that's what you would.
that's the transition.
Okay.
And the condensing is actually happening from here.
All the way.
So you're condensing
Okay.
here
Mhm.
so that you're ready as you get to this point to begin actually.
Okay.
And you have to be careful as you condense that you don't use up all your twisting
Mhm.
because you're going to need more
Okay.
as you go into 5. Yeah. So really letting yourself have that transition so that you really feel that sense of compacting
Mhm.
everything. And it's what's kind of interesting is that then in 5 and 6, while the arm movement is still pretty full, the body movement is smaller.
Mhm.
So being aware of that. The other thing I was going to mention, which is will develop as you can begin to focus on it a little more, is getting 2 and then 4 and then 5 and then 6, because there are 4 positions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that I'm not sure that was really clear.
Okay.
But,
I knew that if I didn't.
it's you can only really focus on one at a time, and when you get, as we always say, and when that's clear and you're comfortable, then you can add another one. But you really do have to work on them one at a time.
Okay.
I have an observation and then I have a question.
Sure.
Because I struggle with this too. I think that particularly on 6, not just dropping our hands, but continuing
Mhm.
to twist. And I
Yeah.
felt like you were dropping your
Yeah.
hands more than twisting them.
Straight
And
line. Yeah.
it took me a while to kind of really. I think I've said that in class before. It's kind of like somehow 5 worked better than 6, but I feel like I'm connecting now more on that, and that to me is is continuing to do that.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, for me, remembering to connect in 6, coming down at that point that you talked about on the above the wrist.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's so both in so we're doing that connection happens in 6 and in 2.
And 5.
5 and 5, 6
And 2.
and 2. Yeah. So yeah, focusing on that, I think I had it more in 2 and 5 and
Yeah.
it is a powerful connection when it happens.
Yeah. Good.
My other was more of a question,
Sure.
which is that I feel that I'm really getting the breathing right on everything but 3, and I go back and forth. What am I doing? How? Maybe that's because I'm doing 3 too quickly
In the transition or just in the movement?
in the movement. Maybe the transition into the movement. And then the movement.
So it's inhale, 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 exhale, inhale, inhale, in. So it's a longer inhale than exhale.
And you have to go slow or you're begin to hyperventilate. That's
Yes.
probably my problem.
And also remembering that you're focusing, that in this one, when we talk about what organs you're working with, you're working with the liver and the spleen.
Yeah.
And so being aware of the fact that you're breathing into the liver and clearing it of any negative energy, and then breathing into the spleen
I don't think
So that's
I
just
realized that.
part of
I don't remember talking about organs. Can you go through that?
Sure, those liver and spleen here, in 3, 4 is kidneys,
Okay.
and that's the only, those are the ones that
Oh, okay.
it just
they're
focuses to
connected.
those
Okay.
3
Okay.
organs principally. It affects the other organs too. This is
Mm.
not, but that's the ones that you're, and those are the really important organs in terms of traditional Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
Um, and 5 and 6 affect all of the organs because ideally you've gotten into the central channel, and if you truly have, then you begin to, they connect directly to the central channel. Other question?
Could you do a couple of passes of 3?
I will endeavor to do so.
On camera.
I'm still working on this whole practice.
Yeah.
And certainly 3 is one of the things
Yeah.
I'm still working on, but okay. So you're looking for that sense of twisting in and out and in. So it's really pretty subtle. The twisting is going all the way through and then out. And you're trying not to let there be any pauses in there.
Mhm.
That was one of the things certainly I dealt with. The first was you get out,
Boom.
and you went, and then no, but you want to try to. Did that answer your
Yeah,
question?
I guess it's at when you said to Bill that it's not straightening, but that's where the C curve straightens. So
It's straightening. It's not up, not going straight up.
It's not-
Because this is one of the places where you are actually,
Yeah.
there is a slight angle to the back. You're not here.
No.
You're here. And it is, you're going out here,
Mhm.
not up. That's the
Mhm.
difference.
And it's from your scapula.
So for your scapula and from your rear foot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you straighten from the rear foot, you go this way. If you straighten from this leg, you go up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're, in terms of your vertebrae and your spine, when you stretch, when you extend, you're still extending. You're coming out of the C curve as you're, and then you're going back into it when you start twisting
Yeah.
in.
And
So
and
the spine's always involved, obviously.
spine is always involved. You got
That's
it.
It
good.
won't go away.
So you're opening the posterior side of the spine and now the anterior side.
Mm.
It's the same whether you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The spine movement is basically the same. It may be different, have different size of movement, but it's the same basic principle.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, so at the top,
Mhm. That's the hard section, yeah.
because you've straightened it, now you're curving the spine, but somehow getting higher.
Uh-huh.
How does that work?
Well,
Mm.
if for one thing, you have to make sure that you aren't here when you do the side, because now all I can do is go straight across.
Yep.
Like no curve left. So you have to be down a bit here because you're halfway through your circle. And that allows you then, even though you're bending the spine and going up over the top of that curve and then down and straightening again.
How much is the quad and how much are the knees? Move. I think, I mean, to me, that, yeah, I
I
mean,
don't-
I didn't see
I don't,
Bill really rise. I think what your question is, yeah, that you are an oval as we look, if we just look at your, I looked at your head a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's kind of like-
There's a lot,
And
I'm
it's-
saying, boy, I'm straight rod up and down compared to him,
So I think that part of that is the question of the curvature of the spine. Part
Yeah,
of that is
yeah.
what else is lifting us?
you're not focusing on the knees. And
I'm not focusing on them, right? Are they steady and
there
not
is
moving
knee-
at all?
there
Is it
has to be
slight?
knee movement.
There has to be knee movement, yeah.
Because that oval is not just the
Right, exactly.
claw, or it would be much more limited.
That's right.
The knees are certainly
Mhm.
involved, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And it's the same, you're trying to get that same movement because you're doing, see, part of the C curve of the spine
Mhm.
is that when you go here, you're able to keep that sacrum straight
Yep.
down to the earth
hmm
and then extend.
hmm
And the rear foot is weighted towards the toe, not the rear foot. The weighted foot is towards the heel
Uh-huh.
because the energy is coming up this way
Yes.
through the body as you go out. Yeah. Did I?
Should we all get up and try to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's a good
I think
idea.
that would be a good idea. Hard to talk about your body sometimes, about moving.
Yeah,
Whether we're
absolutely.
doing or not. Right.
My inclination is for you to do a few of 2 first. And then transition into 3.
Mhm.
So keep the twisting in going all the way to the point when you are going to expand out. Yeah, I think your elbows need to come in more. I think, yeah. Good. Remember to keep the hands aligned with the sidelines, not the center.
You're close.
You're coming in here. You, and I understand your structure is different, so you're larger, so
Yep.
you have a slightly different movement, but still,
But I'm too, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
you don't want to do this. You want to
Too close,
just
yeah.
twist and then out.
So when I'm twisting, they're not here, they're
Yep,
still on
they're
the
still
side.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they stay at the same distance apart throughout.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's a good
You know,
observation.
yeah, because I
Maybe I'm
gen-
overcompensating
generally,
for my
you know,
size
and
by squeezing
you
them
know,
in.
you know, I come
I do too.
in, you know, and then go out, you know,
Yeah,
so.
no, I am too, clearly, yeah. So when they, yeah,
It's a relatively common problem. So Bill, I think you're extending too far when you go out. Remember the 70% rule. Yeah, and keep the hands on the sidelines of the body, not drifting into center.
You're drifting and
Don't wear yourselves out doing 3.
that feels better, yeah, no,
Yeah, it's beginning to look better. Do other questions come up there?
no observations of just
Uh-huh.
making sure you're not shooting it out, or yeah, the 70% rule, making sure it's coming from the back and all those things, but it's all like, those are layers that we all remember. Sometimes we just have to go back when we do it. When we're readjusting, that
Yeah.
kind of means readjusting the whole stack.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll be doing a lot of 7 this week.
And you know, one of the other things that we've been really dwelt on this very much, but the breathing,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to go to the more advanced breathing, but we're working now with aligning the movement and the breath
Mhm.
together. But there must not be any pause whatsoever. And our tendency, particularly in a movement like 3, where we extend where the inhale is intentionally extended, we tend to rush the inhale. We tend to go more quickly so that it'll even out the inhale and the exhale. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to, you are taking in a lot more fresh energy than you are sending out, but you can send out with force too.
You're sending it, maybe you're sending out the equal amount, but the force is
Yeah,
more force.
it's through intention.
Yeah.
And yep.
And I mean, it's not new, right? We have been practicing this in the form forever, not to just stop.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Which tends to stop the breath too.
Which tends to stop everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The form is more often. Okay, where am I?
Which single whip is this?
That's true. That is a place we stop, isn't it? Yep, yeah. And then we stop here, and then we're like, oh, which one? True, yeah, no, it's, yeah. But, oh, well, but we all know, we just need to, was that,
Not as many choices of which to go with it is. It's
no, right,
Which seven is it? It's only 1 7.
Yes. Two directions, but one zone. Um. Any other questions or thoughts? The moment?
Bill looks
Got
deep in
knapsack
thought.
full of
Yeah.
Things to work on.
I
yeah.
think there's.
There's a lot there, but it's good, no, yeah,
Okay, I think we should stop there.
yeah,
So thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good work.
Good
Good work,
work.
Bill.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Bill. Yeah, you should come more often. 20 minutes, that's like, takes me 20 minutes to get to where Carol is, depending on the school buses and the trucks. And today we came up the hill here and there was this wide load on the road that had to back up a bit for Carol to get past us. Just up on
It was-
Clark Hill. Clark
And there
Hill.
wasn't anything on it. It was just this huge.
Oh, that thing, yes.
Did you, oh, you must have gone
Yeah,
past that too, yeah.
Huh. Oh. It was
Like it
on
was
Clark Hill?
Drop, yeah, like it was,
Oh, I
dropping
bet
some-
it's close to that new
Just-
house there, maybe.
yeah, maybe, yeah, it was
Past
just,
Mill Road, yeah.
it's
to that
just,
side of Mill
Yeah.
Road, yeah.
it was hard to tell. Why it was sitting there, because then it backed up for us, because there wasn't quite enough.
It
Road.
was moving forward at about 1.5 miles. I could barely see.
You're moving
where it was
backward
moving,
about when we
but
got up
I
the hill at that.
stopped and I said, you do whatever you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going by you until we're clear where you're going.
Yeah.
There was no equipment on it. There was
No,
nothing.
no, it was empty,
So,
Maybe it dropped
It probably dropped something
something
off
already.
somewhere.
yeah.
yeah, but not obvious what.
what or where, right?
Yeah.
I'm always impressed. With, you
The big trucks.
know, with the, who drives them and
Oh,
how
it's,
they maneuver those things around, especially on a road like that. Neat.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I drove a school bus. That's like as big as I
Wow.
wanted to get.
Yeah.
On side back roads in Preston. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's challenging. And so these things, that's not half as long. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's twice as long.
And
With the cab
Yeah, and, and.
that moves, right?
Yeah.
my dad learned to drive in a pickup truck trailing a compressor. So
Oh.
he could back anything.
Yeah.
He just.
Yeah, you have to learn.
Good.
All right. Yeah, no, we have to rent a 18.
You have any
Thank-
Dallas questions?
No, no, not for now. I'll save it for next week.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Well, this made me feel better today, so that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Yeah, that's great. And thanks for the tip on that book too.
Oh, I just happened to pick it up and go through it, and I thought, wow, this is a great introduction to a lot of different things.
Yeah. One that I got recently in the mail, and I've just started looking at it, but I really like the introductions, is by David Hinton, and it's called The Four Chinese Classics.
Oh, yeah. His
And he has
introduction
the-
in there to the Tao Te Ching is fabulous.
Yes, that's what I'm reading. I've read parts of now, and surprisingly, it made me kind of annoyed at Alan Watts writing. He seems sort of he's uneven and snarky sometimes, but
But
Alan
probably
Watts,
easier to
yeah.
understand than Hinton is.
well, Hinton is much more substantial, I think.
Oh, I think so. And his ability to, his choice of words to translate to is,
Yeah,
I think, really interesting and very informative.
It's a topical, right?
Yeah.
We have that.
Yes, I think so too.
I
Yeah, he's scholarly, but not
I
opaque
have
as
it with me.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
to the common guy. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Have it
yeah.
with me because I
You know,
like
Good.
to read it out.
Another one of his that I really love is oh
One day I
shoot, I
was-
can't say the name, something mountain. He lives up in Vermont, and he is apparently right at the base of a small mountain.
Uh-huh.
It's not really a mountain, I guess. It's more a very high hill, but he tends to hike it every day or as often as he can. And he writes about that and how it informed his understanding of this whole of all this philosophy.
And before.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Wow.
it's really a fascinating one.
Yeah.
It's a fun read.
Yeah.
I've
Interesting.
only-
Yeah,
I've
I
only
do.
read it
I do
3
like
times.
him. Uh-huh. Wonderful.
Wanted to say, have a good week, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. You also.
Yep.
I need to
And
get up
you.
and move.
Thank you. Take care.
Along the-
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming today. That was good
I
work.
will go
Yes.
see today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Good.
Don't need an appointment in advance.
Good.
Lots to work on.
Always
Sometimes
is.
I just pop over.
Yeah.
The,
I might do that. on my way
What I-
home, so
took mostly away, it's
Yeah,
the lack
because
of
I get home and I get so busy
twisting
and then it's like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. It's
in
gone.
speed, I lost the C curve in the middle
Yeah.
of the right, so. Oh, good. But in addition to it, it's just the whole twisting business. All the time, I do it here and there, but.
Yeah,
do
no,
it
you
all
just.
the time.
All
Yeah.
the time. Constant. You remember your elbows and your.
Take care. See you next week, Bill.
See you. Thanks, David. Goodbye, everybody.
Time. No, that's not where the twist is supposed to be.
No, not in the shoulders, not in the. oh, my
Well,
knees
it
hurt.
is in the shoulders, but.
Yeah.
it's got-
But not in that way. Yeah,
it's
not in the
spurred
up.
a specific way.
Not in the up shoulder. Sit down. Oh.
You need a break. Huh?
Well, I just, like I said, just,
Oh,
it's not black and blue, but there's still quite a
Oh.
tenderness there. Carol's got a good substantial car, and that wind, I mean, I got in, I put my bag in, so I kind of delayed for a second. I think I put my bag in, I got one foot in, I just getting the other one in, so I would moved it over, and suddenly the door just. The
Oh,
wind
wow.
is very windy out there. The wind just like squished it.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
but I had arnica. I always carry arnica, so I took arnica,
That's good.
and it is good because I'm not black and blue, but it's still sore. So
Ouch. Oh,
hey,
well.
didn't break anything, but it does.
Good.
but it's. And that's after that's after coming in saying, oh God, I pinched something in the middle of the night, so. Oh, well.
Sitting down again.
Yeah, I know. A quick break before we probably have to get out again.
So,
Well,
shift gears here.
shift gears.
Questions?
After we talked about it last week briefly, I got confused about.
Yeah. Which is which?
This is Subdue Tiger.
Okay.
The
Before the
lower-
kick.
Before the kick.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Go to here and
Yeah.
for the kick. And this is
The guy
And
goes,
then when we,
gargoyles is
yeah, okay, that's
it's
what I thought I was doing, and then I was. My head said, "Are you right?" And my body said,
I've gone back and forth on, I've had challenges with that
Yeah.
one many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I tend sometimes to, and then I kind of feel like this, this is somehow this, once I go, oh, yeah. I think my only, I've been practicing, I told Carol, except for yesterday, because I've had my blood pressure, my home blood pressure equipment has been registering me very high, and I've been retaining water the last few months. So I've just been concerned. So I took it for last week every day, and it was really high,
Ooh.
except for when I took it immediately after Tai Chi one day, and it was down to 143. That's still too high, but it had been up to 166, 175 after my medication. After I'd taken
Whoops.
my, yep, the whoops is right. So she upped that, but it's just, it was like, and I told her that, I said, yeah, I mean, because I took it right, like I finished about a good half hour practice, sat down and went, oh, yep.
Well,
That works,
It's-
right, but
it's
then it went up
supposed
a
to do
little,
that.
it went up higher again later. Hmm?
It's supposed to do that.
It's supposed to do that. No, it is supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But I think I don't have any questions. I still need to keep practicing. I have that, but I'll tell you that after gargoyles, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, where am I again now? So I think I get to gargoyles, and then I get to here, and then I'm like blanking on the last few in the second paragraph.
Yeah.
So seeing that would be, or seeing that, doing that with you would be very helpful, I think, is where I kind of feel like
So, yeah, it's kind of,
we haven't done that in a very long time together.
no,
We haven't gone that far.
kind of interesting, in the short form, after which Bill is working on in the Tuesday class, after gargoyles, it goes to sweep the lotus and the end.
And then the end. Yeah, and sometimes I do that. That's interesting because I've been kind of going, wait a minute, I just finished the whole form. How did I do that? So
Well, that's a way to have a short form.
yeah, but I just
Yeah, sometimes it,
set words,
hey,
but
I'm not concentrating or something's coming up. I don't have enough time. Well, this is,
Yeah.
I know how to finish from here.
you know how to
Yeah.
finish from here, right? I've actually never done this short form, but I'm just getting frustrated that I can't get to the end of 2 without going, oh, I have to figure out how to go back to where David last did that on a video, and I'm like, no, I can't find that. So
Lamppost, right?
Yeah.
with
So,
that,
It's the lamppost is the next, it's a,
yeah.
oh, is that what it's?
So after, I don't even do this very well
Well,
now, but after the last gargoyle.
Yeah.
You
Uh-huh.
come in,
Kick.
kick, then you
Go around,
spin
right,
around.
right, and we've talked about kind of not trying to. We used to all be able to spin it, but
Yeah.
that's not
We
happening
did
anymore.
kick, and
Kick.
then this is the,
Okay,
this is the
all right, okay.
end of the
I think
clothing.
it's just making sure I get that. Yeah.
went for a brief while. I got to that last kick. I didn't know. My foot. I was trying to make it more difficult. You know, you just put your foot.
Just put your foot down. Yeah.
So,
Well, it is,
I'm gonna have to
you're
stay
gonna
behind
put the
it.
foot down on an angle.
yeah,
Because your left hand is pressing down and the right fist is pulling down.
Mm.
And then you're going to go forward into the punch. And then you
Mhm.
go into the
Mm. Mm.
into
Yeah,
the
I was
end.
watching your right foot, and I'm like, oh, right. Got that one totally.
Yeah.
See,
but
Yeah, so you get
So-
to the punch
uh-huh.
and
Yeah, that way.
you're gonna continue forward.
Mm-hmm.
This goes out. Good, David. This goes out and comes back. So, you're here and you have the cross hands And then you go forward and you're into
Okay.
follow and focus.
Somehow I
But-
totally forgotten that right thing. That's almost like the opposite of it's almost the opposite at the end of the first paragraph.
No, it's the same as the end of the first paragraph.
But
Yeah.
it's a different leg.
No, same.
Good God.
Because
Where am I?
You start the second paragraph in the exact same. place
That's
as you
true.
start
Oh,
the
yeah,
second-
you
the third
do.
paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind
know
of one
it's
of those
bad.
brain farts. I'm like, what? Well, it's a good thing we're doing this.
Yeah.
But we should go back to your gargoyles. because
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah,
what-
that's where, yes, we
That's
should go
where you-
back to gargoyles,
we
but
can-
So
yeah,
you're,
okay.
you're on the right leg. As you complete that gargoyles, and then you come in,
And, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I wanna watch, yeah,
kick.
when you, go ahead, you're gonna watch from here, just so I can watch the.
Okay, so you're here, you're 100% back. You're just gonna draw that leg in so that you can kick. And then
Set it there.
spin on the right toe,
Mhm. Yeah.
ideally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you're gonna do another kick of the right foot, put it down, step empty with the left. Rotate up into the punch. Withdraw. And follow. Focus, not follow. We didn't follow. The thing that to remember is that when you get to this point, you still have an in and an out.
Mm,
It's not, our tendency is to
oh, yeah.
here and just keep going out, out, out.
Yep.
And follow has both an out and an in. And focus has an in and an out.
Mm, yes,
of the
yeah,
energies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question?
no, I'm just absorbing. Trying to focus and absorb, that's
Yeah.
all. I don't have any, I mean, I'm glad it's recorded, but I don't have any questions.
Do you want to try it?
Yes, I I don't know.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? That's true. Why not? What do we want to start with?
I find starting there,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
because then
that's
you
it.
get into the right gargoyle.
Yep. Don't step behind yourself in gargoyles because that's very unstable.
You want me to do guard? Yes, that's the foot that hurt, that's the leg that hurts right now, but that's okay.
Well, be very gentle with
Be
it.
very gentle, but you're saying don't do, yeah, well, I can't
So,
even do that
yeah.
now.
But you are behind yourself here.
Yeah, there, yes.
There we are, and then, I hear what you're saying,
That's much better.
and then. Wait a minute, we kick here. And then we
Turn all the way
turn
around.
on the right toe,
Yep.
right?
Land on the left and kick with the right.
And then. No, then. Where am I?
You're doing, you more or
I'm
less.
tentative.
You more or less have the right thing.
I more or
So-
less have the
so-
right thing.
So when after you've done this kick, you step. And
Oh,
you're
okay, uh-huh.
rotating onto it, and this is pushing down, and this is forming the fist.
Start, okay, sorry.
Oh. You want me-
I want you to do that again, so I'm, yeah, paying
Okay.
attention to both the hands there.
So-
So we're,
So,
so about the F, we do the kick.
okay,
and then
so we kick,
Uh-huh,
you're gonna step, and it's on an angle.
okay,
It's not straight, it's on an
Okay.
angle. And as you go forward onto it, the
Mm,
left deflects down and the right forms the fist. Don't pull them off to the side, keep them centered.
Okay.
And then you step empty, and as you go forward, the left deflects up and the right goes into a punch.
Uh-huh.
And then you're gonna go onto the left, and that is this, you're gonna do this. The fist releases and crosses the left wrist.
Mhm.
And that's happening as you come forward and go back.
Mm.
And then you come forward again, and now you're coming in. Out. Yes.
Yeah, I have questions. It takes me a while to absorb
Okay.
these things at times.
So gargoyles. There's more to it than you were doing.
Okay.
So
Sure.
if you're here,
Mhm.
the first thing is you just sit on that right foot.
Mhm.
And now we're going to rotate left to step back, and that begins to turn the feet. And then you turn right, continuing to shift back into the posture. And then you're 100% on the left, so you
Mhm.
can just turn right and then left.
Mhm.
So there's 2 turns in each of those.
Yep, I hear you. I gotcha. I know what I did wrong.
Yeah, no.
And then, yeah,
You need that.
I hear what you're
to
saying,
move
yeah.
the arms, I mean, the body has to move those arms into place.
Yeah.
Do you have a question in there?
no, again, it's just like, I think, yeah.
So
Absorbing it all.
go back to offering incense.
Mhm.
So shift back, David. Sit on the right foot,
Mhm.
rotate left, rotate right. Then keep going right,
Mm.
releasing the fist, rotate left. And you're continually shifting through
Mhm.
those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then you go into the kick.
Yep.
And then you go, and one of your hands, I was a little unclear what my hands are doing as I spin.
Oh, okay, so you're in that last gargoyle,
Mhm.
the left leg comes in,
Mhm.
so you're gonna come into here and kick,
Okay, yep.
and there's a foot adjustment, okay?
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
step back and reset the right foot, and then
Spin on it. So our hands are basically,
they're twisting
Twisting
in
in.
through that.
yeah, uh-huh.
So, and you land on the left.
Mhm.
And so when you land on the left, you want the hands to come in a little bit further and up, so they're ready for the other kick.
Yeah.
And then that goes down. Yep. Punch. Withdraw. Focus. No questions, Carol?
No, I don't think so.
No, I have no questions. I think I'm overloaded, that's all.
You're overloaded.
But that was really helpful. Both
Good.
physically doing it and then having it, so I can kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't overdo your leg.
Yeah.
Right.
It's tingling now.
I don't want you to not be able to walk later.
No, I don't think it's that kind of thing. I hope not, but
Oh,
it's,
good.
it's just, it's a little traumatizing.
Yeah,
What happens?
good, good.
I'll take more arnica when I get in the car.
Arnica is a good thing.
Arnica is a good thing.
What happens if you take too much?
Well, they say you shouldn't take it more than a half an hour after the first time. I don't know. I've never taken too much. I don't know.
Me either, I don't know.
I've never really felt a need for picking it more than maybe 3 times in one day when it was really bad. Fall,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some things can become pretty toxic if you
Mhm.
take it too much. And I think people kind of sometimes forget because it's not pharmaceuticals. They think that only those things are bad for you, where, yeah,
Well, you could do too much.
you can do too much of that, anything really, yeah,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Okay,
Okay,
What is it, licorice that you should
thank
avoid?
you.
too much.
Licorice raises your blood pressure.
Oh, well, okay.
So
Really?
don't do any licorice tea.
No, that's interesting. I'm not a big licorice tea
Or licorice
person.
in tea.
Hmm?
Or licorice in tea.
In tea, yeah.
Mm. I only drink one tea,
What do you drink?
jasmine green.
Hmm,
I buy it loose,
uh-huh, yeah, yeah.
but I'm wondering whether I'll be able to afford it now.
Yeah, what brand do you buy, or is it a particular?
It, um, the one I've been getting, I don't remember the brand, but I think it's from China, so.
I know lots of teas. I said direct, even coffee, we buy,
Oh,
but we have a wholesale number because of our catering. So we buy from Equal Exchange. We buy coffee and tea. So I
Yeah.
do buy 3 kinds of tea. I buy Irish tea, Irish breakfast, Earl Grey, and a ginger green tea with ginger. So. But yeah, I mean, they'll have to pass it on, Everybody will.
yeah. It's-
Yeah, no, a lot of things from China. And then I think last night he added more. Well, China's up to 104% as
I
of
know,
this
it's
morning.
crazy.
And there's something like 60% on small packages, which he said he was going to not do. But so that's probably, yeah, well, I mean, I think that some of that's like the Temu or all those things people buy. I don't buy anything online if I can avoid it, but some things you can't avoid.
Yeah.
But there used to be Chinese exchange students who lived across the street from us. Woman there would host them. And every day there were packages sent to those kids. I mean, I'm sure the families are wealthy. They're sending their children to Norwich County.
Yeah.
But the kids got stuff every day. FedEx, UPS, every day.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Yeah. It will stop. The CEOs are bad, not just us. The people with power are mad.
Even Musk is mad.
Even Musk and Navarro are having what did it, boys will be boys fight.
Yes. Yep.
So hopefully your tea will not. Hopefully you have some tea to last for a while.
I was thinking I ought to see what the price is right now and get some more, but it suddenly occurred to me.
Yeah, right. Anything already in this country, right? Or are there
Yeah.
other places? What's already at the food co-op or wherever?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll manage somehow.
We'll get through this.
All right.
Yeah.
Yin and yang, right?
Thank-
Balance. Thank God for balance and
Yep.
safety nets and communities and all those
All
good
those
things.
things. Indeed.
All those things.
Well, thanks for coming,
right.
ladies. It's
Well, we
great.
love it, right? I
Yes.
think yeah, yeah, I understand why. Yeah, we can't do it all the time, but we're on a good roll here. I think
You are, yeah.
we can do most of really kind of not letting anything. Before when I was doing it at home, I could schedule something for 11, and now I'm like, no.
Yep, better be.
Yeah, no, that's pretty.
Good.
All right. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, a warm week. Good Lord. Carol was resistant this morning to wear any turtleneck, so I was like, I'm gonna be cold.
Well, I wore them.
It's very warm today. So.
Well, I put the heat on when I got up,
Yeah.
so
Uh-huh. So Bill comes on Tuesday here, or he does
Yeah.
all of it?
he comes on Tuesday.
Oh, okay, so that's why he doesn't want to do it twice, yeah. Yeah, and what is the Tuesday class?
That's the short.
Oh, that's the short form
Mm.
of this, yes.